love it.
Well, welcome everybody. Here we are, and I am here with Trish from New Zealand, and I'm so excited. I'm excited to have you here if you're listening in on this interview, and I'm excited to have Trish here. We're going to go to some amazing places. If you're listening in on this interview, leave a comment, let us know that you're here. Let us know where you are coming in from. And if you have any comments or questions as Trish and I are sharing and talking, please write them, because it's always really lovely to hear that other people relate. And, you've either had the same experience or you've got a question about it or you want that experience. So welcome and thank you for making your life important enough to be here and you're curious. So Trish is a current participant in the New Woman Beat Your Drum program. And I'm going to let Trish say what she wants to say about her because she's just so cool. Welcome, Trish, and thank you for making this time available. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Thank you, Leanne. This is such a privilege to be here. And I live in the north of Auckland here in New Zealand in the tranquil countryside of Silverdale, and I got to see my first spring lamb yesterday. So that was very exciting because I'm a sheep farmer's daughter. And to be around nature and to be around animals is so important. I'm privileged to be able to work from home. This is my office. I'm an online life coach and counsellor. My background has been teaching, classroom teaching, and I also do a lot of writing. And I'm looking forward to a wonderful experience when my daughter and family, my grand-twins, are returning from France to live here in New Zealand. So this year is going to take quite a different turn in September, but that's been so beautiful. I've got two wonderful daughters and son-in-laws, and I should say 2.5 grandchildren. Janelle is pregnant again, so we're pretty excited about welcoming a new grandchild later in the year. So it's a real joy to be here and I trust Leanne so much that that she'll be I want to say she'll be kind to me, which is ridiculous because she's always kind to me, but we know what it's like when we're in an interview situation where I actually was looking forward to this, knowing it would be such a very gentle, lovely, relaxed time. So I am ready. Whatever you want to know.
Oh, awesome. Thank you, Trish. And it's really funny how we can sometimes feel nervous about being asked questions or things like that. And I really, really understand. I really do. I do. And so, well, let's jump in, because I really want to know a few things too about what had you choose the Woman Beat Your Drum program and what you got out of it and what you're getting out of it, because you're like right in the middle of it right now. And so you're in the business of personal development and transformation work, and there's a lot available out there. What is it that made you choose this Woman Beat Your Drum program?
Yeah, that's a good question. As you said, I always am working on myself, my personal, my spiritual development. And this, I think, is the 4th or 5th course I have done with Leanne. And I've known that whatever the work I'll do will be an expansion on what has already been achieved in my life, which I'm just so thankful for. And it was just a very simple yes. I had been fortunate to do a one-on-one, the first Woman Beat Your Drum with Leanne, and this time with the group of ladies, oh my goodness, we just love each other. We're so supportive, and to now be in a group environment is just been so exciting for me to meet with women all around the world. And in that time we meet, we are like family and just so incredibly connected with each other. So that's important for me too in a program.
Can I just ask you to speak a bit more about that, Trish? Because I do know that sometimes, when I'm speaking with someone who's interested in the program and they're like, I really want to do it, but I want a one-on-one. And I mean, I offer one-on-one coaching, of course. And the original Woman Beat Your Drum program. So just for those listening, in case you didn't know, the Woman Beat Your Drum program originally launched, the original one, in 2018. And then last year, I went through a very powerful healing journey, totally transformed me, healed my body. And I realized at the end of last year that I had superseded, as a being, I had superseded the original Woman Beat Your Drum program, and I could no longer be the old Leanne in order to deliver it. And so early in this year, and I was getting downloads, and it was all this creative energy coming through me of a whole new program. So even though a lot of the processes are the same, the context and the vehicle that the processes are in is, I guess, totally, totally different. I'll ask you to speak to that in a little bit, but just to let people know, because you said you did the one-on-one version. And so what would you say then to someone who, let's say they haven't done the Woman Beat Your Drum program, the original one, and so they're looking at it for the first time, or someone who has, and they also did the one-on-one version, and they want to do the one-on-one again? What would you say to them? Because I'm not offering the one-on-one in the new program. I am offering one-on-one coaching sessions, which you can combine. But the program itself, it flows differently. And yeah. So how would you speak to that, Trish?
Oh, it flows differently. For me, the experience of the 101 was what I needed at that time, and yet this one I know has allowed me to be honoured to watch other women and see, we have our check-ins, we have our breakout rooms where we actually spend time connecting with one of the other participants, and that's been significant for me personally, just because I love to be with people, and so that's probably a personal preference. But I think for me, the expansion, you talked of your own expansion journey, this being the expansion of where I was going, that I have been able to add on to what I've had in the first program. And I guess what I'm saying with that is that whatever personal development program anyone has, this will add on, even if you feel like you've been to another Leanne's course, this is not the same course because it's just a whole different energy with everyone that comes in and what they bring. And that's what I just find so exciting to be every time I turn up thinking, it's not only, what will Leanne have for us today, is, how will everyone in this session be able to add value to everyone else with their own personal breakthroughs or their own personal experience. And, often I'm just sitting there going, I love it, and this is what there's not many opportunities that we get as wise women. Thank you for Leanne for encouraging me to own that we don't get often the opportunity to meet with like-minded wise women who see that we have so much to give to people around us to give to the world. And here
Yes.
we are meeting together and
Yeah.
standing in support of each other,
Mm.
and just being there for for each
Yes.
other on the journey. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that, because I think when we think that we need all of it in one-on-one
Mm, mm,
attention,
mm,
partly I wonder if it isn't, we in our culture have not, like, women have not always treated other women kindly.
mm,
And
mm,
it's an old ancestral cultural
mm,
thing. It's been falling away as we realize it's not true. But some women can still hold wounding and pain, and maybe even a lack of trust. And so I wonder if that might be there. And but as we come together, it is a whole other paradigm. And the truth I'm finding that is being revealed is that women have always supported each other in antiquity. We've always been there for each other. And it's only as the wounding of old patriarchy has in pushing into the culture. And I say patriarchy, I don't mean men, it's the masculine. And it's the masculine consciousness, when it's wounded, then just seeks to dominate and separate. But it's just wounding. And as we heal this, then what women are discovering is that we really they are there for each other. And you experience that very powerfully in the Woman Beat Your Drum program. It's very intimate, so it's a small group
yeah.
that travel together, in this journey. And thank you for saying that. All right. Now, before you step into the commitment of transformation, you go through stuff. There's that initial, before you step over the threshold, because you know that you're going to get something very transformational, particularly if you've already done work with me and you know that it works. You know something is going to shift. And also because I'm saying this is, you haven't done this before, as you're discovering. And so there's a part of you that really wants that. And there's also a part of you, which is part of the old ego, that may offer up some obstacles to overcome before completely stepping in 100% to be committed to go, I'm in and I'm going for that transformation. So what was it for you, would you say?
Yeah, it's a good question, because when I think of that question, I know for when I did the first course, there was a lot of resistance with ego. But I feel for this course that there wasn't any kind of tangible resistance, because there was such a curiosity and desire to expand on what I already had established, and that I feel was helpful for me. That I don't get concerned about the dollar value when I know the investment is part of who I am, and the time value. I'm in a situation that it was just a very beautiful window of time in my year. So really for me to resist it would have been like resisting a gift that was presented to me right this 4 months just before I have a whole new level of being a grandma and a mother. So there was almost no resistance to say yes. I'm not sure whether that's a helpful answer to you, but
Yeah.
it's
Well, it's just,
yeah,
because we're hearing about your
yeah,
journey,
yes, yeah,
and so the first time you stepped
mm,
into the
yeah,
Woman Beat Your Drum program, there was, as you are acknowledging, a
mm,
lot of resistance.
mm,
And this time,
mm,
basically because you knew what you were up for,
yes, yeah,
and you then didn't resist what it was going to offer. Because if
yeah,
you think about it, uh, if someone is looking for uh, reasons to not do something because
mm,
of
mm,
fear, because I
mm,
always find like it's never
mm,
about money. When I break it
mm,
down,
no,
it's
no,
never about money, because I'm so, if
mm,
I know that this is something that you really want and you're committed to that, then I'll just
mm,
make it work for you.
mm,
Right. And, but when there are, oh, I've got so much on my plate and I just can't do it. Well,
mm,
that's the perfect time to do it because,
mm,
I- you know, wait until you have a holiday, wait until you're not doing anything, wait until you're not working anymore, wait until, we have all these things we're waiting for till the moment is perfect. And for so many reasons. I mean, you've actually said this is the perfect window, and yet someone else who might still be grappling in fear, could come up with the reason that, oh no, they've got their daughter coming from France, and they've got to organize things and settle things and organize, and because there's a feeling of overwhelm, like I don't know if I can handle this. And it's in that moment, in the moment that we think we can't handle it, or that's the moment to step into and allow yourself to expand into who you really are and all of your resources to handle what you think you can't, because the thinking that we
mm,
can't is all from the wounded parts
yeah.
of ourself that have to reduce our life in order to handle it. So, yeah, just wanted to acknowledge that. Let's jump into what you're getting from the program. Because I know that was something that I had in my working with you over these past couple of months, knowing, I mean, you're already wise. You've already done the original program and other, courses with me. And you're an author, you coach, you really do. I mean, you're onto it. You're aware, and consciousness is expanding. And so you're coming into this not from the perspective that there's something to fix and there's something wrong with your life. And also too, there's nothing wrong with that if someone comes into the program because there's an area of their life that they want to fix or deal with more powerfully. But you came in with all of, you were more, all right, I'm ready for my next level. And so what would you say is opening up for you in the program? What are you getting from the program? How would you like to speak to that? Where do you want to start?
Yeah. Oh, I'd love to speak to that. For me, every program is something that I'm wanting to expand who I am. And I was very aware that with some of the clients I was working with, and obviously I work around limiting beliefs and releasing old stories. And you talked about the word awareness. I was becoming aware I was still being triggered. And when I get a trigger, I think, well, okay, Trish, what are you going to do about it? You're you're seeing the work with your clients, and you're seeing how much they're expanding and how they're just releasing old beliefs. And then I thought, but if I've still got something that's sitting there, I need to work on it. So coming into this course was so significant for me, because I was realizing before I started, I was still sitting in areas of rejection that hadn't been fully resolved, and probably even the joy of my daughter and family returning from France just kind of stirred that up. The rejection of a marriage, my husband wanting to end a marriage, the separation at times that felt that felt confusing. And I just remember, I think when I really had a breakthrough for me was in one of the meditations that you did with us, Leanne, and I had this very clear vision of my dad. I must have only been about 8 months, because he was lifting me back into a playpen. I'm sure everybody understands what a playpen is, to keep little ones safe. And it was as we were given the opportunity to really explore what was that story, what was the movie screen we were watching, I had a revelation. I had always felt like, oh, my dad didn't have time for me as a little baby, and so he was putting me back in the playpen. When I could shift the meaning, when I totally shifted what the meaning was, the truth of it, I could then embrace. My dad took time out of his busy day as a farmer to pick up his little daughter and give her a hug. And I had only got stuck with the memory of him putting me back in the playpen. And it just triggered, to give a little bit of context. I'm one of 7 children. When I was 4 years old, my mum had 3 babies in 11 months. My brother was born, and then I had twin sisters. And I've often felt like my mum wasn't present for me. Well, hey, she had 7 children in 10 years, and she was a farmer's wife. And I took on board as a little girl, a little wounded girl, that I didn't fit or that I was being rejected. Some of the real empowerment of this course has been really shifting the meaning around that. There was always love in my family. I knew that. But somehow I had misunderstood some of the times when, for the reality of life, my mum couldn't be present for me. And that's impacted how I've been as a parent, and I've had to work on that with my own daughters. So for me, the breakthrough was really getting right down to what was the root of that feeling of rejection. And I kind of was, and then I was able to shift it. I like to use a flip switch in a way that no one can reject me unless I'm rejecting myself. Mm-hmm. And that kind of was a big aha moment in one of the sessions, that what I had been telling myself wasn't truth. Mm-hmm. And when I could accept truth around a situation in my childhood, that wasn't any lack of care or love towards me, it was just the circumstances of where my parents were at, it brought in a lot of fresh perspective. Whenever I'm feeling like, oh, I haven't heard from my daughter for a while. Oh my goodness, she doesn't need me. Well, wait a minute, Trish. She's 27 years old. She's married and living in London, and what am I worried about? Mm-hmm. I know she loves me, mm-hmm. And this is the key, that when I have a feeling of rejection, or just that niggle of, oh, I'm not being accepted for who I am, doing Woman Beat Your Drum has allowed me to see the truth in the situation, reframe the story, and then live the truth of it. And I'm so, so thankful. I mean, I can just, the freedom I feel. Yeah, and just
I so
every
get
day
that.
I'm living there. Yeah.
What you just shared there, I would like to really like open it up and explain some few moments. And I just so get that freedom. You just, I mean, I can feel it. It's just palpable, because in that freedom, your consciousness and awareness keeps expanding. And so you catch and you see when the old habits of feeling and of thinking pop up. Oh, I'm not wanted. Oh, I'm not important enough. And you're like, hey, wait a minute. Because you see it differently now. And you just flip it in that moment.
Yeah.
And it becomes less and less strong.
Absolutely. And that's the key, is that, it's still a process. And
Yes.
that's why I'm glad it's a 4 month course, because I'm realizing that there's so much that I know, oh, I've got it. But then, the old ego or the old thought patterns kicks back in. And I'm thinking, no, flip it, Trish, flip it, until it becomes just a normal way of thinking.
Yeah.
And that is just, and I can sense it when I'm talking with my daughters, when I'm talking with my clients. There's just a real sense of, I'm seeing this whole situation differently, because I'm choosing to see it from the truth of who I am.
Wow, that's just so beautiful. And so I just want to speak to how the program works with that, just for the listeners. So, and by the way, if you're joining in and you haven't yet commented, to just say where you're from, please let us know you're here, and drop us a comment. So the Woman Beat Your Drum program, it helps you to expand and keep expanding your consciousness.
Yeah.
Now, what's going to happen in that expansion is, as Trish is pointing out, you begin to unravel and see unconscious, and maybe some of them are conscious, decisions, patterns, and beliefs that you've carried for a very long time. Now, sometimes you can already be conscious of these things, but sometimes just simply being conscious of them isn't enough, because there's a whole unraveling about them. And you don't need to do therapy and deep diving into the story of that, although sometimes that can be helpful, but that's not what we do. And what happens, though, is that your subconscious mind takes you on that journey to help you to see and to uncover. And how that even begins is, consider that the thoughts and beliefs and decisions that you carry right now in your brain, because it's got a filing cabinet, well, several filing cabinets filled with all of these thoughts and decisions and beliefs that you've collected since you've been able to think. So the moment that you're born, and there's research going back even before that, because we are intelligent beings picking up information from our environment. And the purpose of your brain is to make sense of the world. Now, right therein lies the problem, in a sense, because you're 2 years old and you're trying to make sense of the world, but you're two. And in what's going on around you, as you know, and Trish just said it so well. You were 4 And
Yes,
your
I
mom
was,
had all these
yes,
children, right?
yes,
And
yes.
and so there you are, and seeing all these other siblings, and don't see your dad very much. Well, in order to make sense of the world as a 4-year-old, you decide certain things like, oh, dad doesn't care, clearly, because he's not here. If he cared, he'd be here. Mom, busy with new baby and other kids and siblings, is, oh, well, I'm not important enough. I don't matter, whatever. And when you're 4, it makes sense.
Yes,
And,
exactly.
and, and what we don't realize is that we decide that as truth. And
Mm.
it just becomes another thought or decision that you collect along with the next one you're about to decide when you were 5. And then when you were 6, making sense of the world. And so we have this collection of uh, all kinds of what I call limiting thoughts, limiting beliefs, and we look for the thoughts and decisions to be true, and we actually find evidence. And so
Yes.
even as adults, we don't consciously think of, oh yeah, that's what happened. And so question the thoughts in your mind. No, you don't question them. They're the filters through which you view the world. And so if you're viewing the world from the perspective of, I'm not important, and what I have to say doesn't matter, you look to prove that to be true. And so you will take circumstances and interpret what you're already thinking here in those. You'll weave it in. And then and then we talk about that. See, I don't matter, or what I say isn't important, and people don't listen to me. And then we bring it in, then you have children, and then you look for that in your children. And until you wake up, until you expand your consciousness on that, that occurs as the reality, your reality that you live. And you really can cause so much suffering for yourself by simply how you interpreted in the past and then still use and work with that interpretation. And then when you expand your consciousness and keep expanding it, and you sink into the depth of, wow, and then you see what you haven't been seeing before. And you shared that beautifully about your dad, and how you only saw one snippet because what you used to believe, that snippet proved. And as you let go of what you used to believe, then your expanded consciousness allows you to see more of what was really going on, and to see the love and I hadn't even noticed all that other happening before, with my dad, and this, wow, a whole new reality opens up because you see something new, and you see a whole new reality, which is far more empowering and sets you free. Yeah. So thank you so much for sharing that. And that even is just one example, of one area. So yeah. So is there anything else you would like to share with our listeners about your journey, insights, openings in the Woman Beat Your Drum program?
Yeah, it's probably just follow on from what you've so beautifully expanded what I talked about is, for me, I've been working on these areas of rejection for years. I've been working on my own limiting beliefs and my own lies that I've been telling myself for years and years and years. And I think for me and this probably has come with this program, no judgment. I'm a life coach, a counselor, and I still have my own things to work on, my own issues. And it just feel like that word expansion, when we're open to expand more, this is why it's been so significant for me, because I let myself expand more, because I wasn't happy with the conclusion I'd made. I could tell myself, well, Trish, your mum and dad love you. Everybody's happy. Everybody loves you. But until I could believe it deep at the deepest level, I was never going to be satisfied with just believing what I've read and believing what I've studied. To me, this program allowed me to just absorb and absolutely at the essence of who I am, just really just take it on board and know that I know this is me, and this is me moving forward with new neural pathways in the brain for those who have connections with the psychological side of ourselves, but the new way of thinking that has allowed that sense of freedom I talked about, of actually feeling the truth of what happened back there, and not dwelling on that, and the truth of what's possible now. And I just live in possibilities, and I'm just so excited about what is now possible for me. As a newly formed grandma, the twins are only 2 years old, and now I get to have more hands-on with them. I feel better prepared. I feel better prepared to be a mother of adult children. I feel better prepared, to be a life partner with someone. Better prepared to really be a friend that someone can know that I will always be authentic. And that's been the process of this, constantly preparing and then building on that preparation. And I know I'll never get there, but that's okay because we will never get there. But I don't believe that. But the feeling more content.
I just want to dive into what you said there, because you said that you've been working on this for these areas like for some time, working on the projection and working on, because you're conscious of it, right? So, and you can tell when you get triggered, so you're working on it. But this time, something really got in and dissolved what used to be there. What would you say that is? Like what happened, would you say, that was able to take it that deep?
Well, it's a good question. I'm just trying to, for me, it would be the process of week by week building on the week before. And that to me felt like, this didn't come in the first week of the program, but I continued to be curious. And then what are we now, week 10, week 11, coming up, there's that sense of, something's been opened, something's been revealed. Now I'm going to pursue what this new revelation is, because it's truth. To me, it's not only that it makes sense, it feels like this is the reality. And I think you talked before about new reality. This is what's been building, is that I'm now creating a new reality in my thinking. And I'm in time, I believe it would just mesh with what the reality is. But I had to get my thinking aligned to reality.
Yes.
That makes sense. There's still little triggers, but they don't. I can address them. I can flip them. I can let them have their moment, and then it's like, okay, you've had your moment. Now we're gonna speak the truth into the situation. This is not what is really happening. This is still the old story.
So it sounds like, from what you've shared, there are three things that have contributed. And so one of them is you consistently kept aiming for the thing you wanted to target. You know, that you were aiming for it, and you got as far as you got the first time. And, you know, sometimes the where we get to is just becoming aware of, oh, look at me, I'm just blaming my dad. And that'll just take you so far, you know, and you can think, well, you know, they did the best they could and life was pretty hard, but still that only takes you so far. And you could tell that you were still getting triggered by, you know, and so the not giving up, right? The consistent and not giving up on that. The other thing is being open. You use that word. You know, you were open to see another reality, and maybe not necessarily immediately, because when there's resistance, we're not all that open. We kind of got the door half shut, you know.
Oh,
And
yes.
yeah. And so if I can add to that, the program is what creates safety. So there's a real safety nest created for you, which enables you to feel and access that strength and that openness inside, so you can bit by bit let go. And then there's a moment when there'll be a particular process, and it'll be just the right timing. You'll be ready for it, and it's going to go to the depth that you've always wanted it to go. Yeah, that's what I got from you saying, you're sharing. Okay.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. So, I mean, I've got more questions, but I think it's probably about time. We're just going to start wrapping it up. And so if there was anything else that you could say about the program that I haven't asked you, what would it be?
I'll just check. I did write a few things down. I think we've covered most. Look, to me, it was really around just what we've shared about having that opportunity to really make a shift, and then make another shift from that shift. It's the expansion. You know, to me, if anyone's thinking, oh, 4 months, that's a long time. Well, we're halfway through, and I just feel like I'm still so eager to see what's going to happen, what's still going to be a enlightenment, what's still going to be an expansion. So the length to me is very significant, because it's not any quick fix program. This is really going deep. This is really at a depth I've never had the opportunity to expand week by week, to really embrace all that is available, all that is possible. So that's just come to me now, actually, after we've been talking, that the significance of the process that you've put in place, and I know that's come, from you, because that's who you are, and you know that is the creative side of you that has absolutely given this gift, created this gift, downloaded this gift, and we get to partake of that, and that's something I'm forever grateful to. Thank you.
Me too. Thank you. And so just one last thing. What message do you want to leave for women who are thinking about participating in the New Woman Beat Your Drum program?
Yeah. Look, if you're thinking, then you're already one step ahead to, I want to, and then I need to explore this more. I mean, I know, Leanne, you always have the check-in, don't you? They did that with when someone shows interest, you have the check-in. So you actually get to talk about any questions or resistance you might have. And I just love that you provided that, Leanne, because even though I was sure that I wanted to expand on the first course, being given that opportunity, the generosity of your time, and just sitting with you and actually talking about what you're wanting from the course and explaining more, to me that really confirmed to me that this is a course that will definitely be adding value to my life. And so getting back to your question, as soon as you start thinking about possibly doing this course, build on that thinking. Don't just stay at the thinking. Actually get proactive and do something with that thought, and talk to Leanne. Watch our videos. I know we've had Tara and Paula. There's probably others to come. Watch the videos of us ladies that are doing the course. We are speaking from our heart of what has been the truth for our journey, and they've all been different. All three of us so far. And the others will be different, and anyone doing the course, your journey will be different because it's your journey.
Awesome. Trish, thank you so much. Thank you for your time, your vulnerability, for opening, your wisdom. Thank you. And thank you to those of you listening here. Thank you for your generosity and your time for listening in. Please leave a comment. Please say hello. Ask any other questions you want to ask. And if you are interested in finding out more about the Woman Beat Your Drum program, just leave a comment below and let me know. We'll be in touch. All right. I love you. Have a wonderful rest of the day.
I love you too. Bye. Thank
Bye.
you.